what I propose to do is to give you a feedback from the collective intelligence perspective, because all the questions we're addressing here, no matter what they are, it always comes back to collective intelligence. Are we capable of building human organizations that don't produce the outcomes we see today in the world? Organizations that don't take things from others. Organizations where we can be at the same time ourselves in our full creativity, and at the same time work together in this big, huge mess that it creates. If we're all different, that's a big mess. How do we deal with that? What kind of information systems, what kind of networks do we need to have? So these are core collective intelligence questions. I would like to now cover very quickly, because I just have a few minutes, very quickly an overview of points, just food for thought. And later on, if you want to go deeper into that, you can write to Siri and we will develop that. These are resources we will share in the future. First point. In our language, in our common language, we don't have much ontological distinctions between directions and means. For instance, when we say, let's share, it doesn't say, oh, that's a direction, we want to go there, or we want to do it. The doing thing means engineering, means, going to very grounded thing. But when we say it, we may have the illusion that we are doing it when we say it. Actually we don't. And that's something I observe in every meeting, is that we all agree about the direction. We're in full agreement. It makes perfect sense. And we have this kind of enthusiasm about that, but at the same time we're just pointing a direction. We're not going there. And we don't have a language structure to make that distinction, that we're just at the moment pointing there and not going there. So I invite you to build strategies in the language. And here's a short one. I could go for an hour on that, but I'll just give you a tip for that. When you agree on a direction, name it as a direction. And then ask yourself the question, what kind of vessel to go there? Is it a team? Is it a startup? What is it? So think about the vessel. A legal vessel, an informal group, an online community. What is the vessel? Who is the crew on the vessel? Is it pioneers? Because you know that, oh, this is so out there, so far out there, that you can't ask everyone to do that. It's too early. So is it pioneers? Or is it anyone? Or is it a group of specialized people? Ask yourself these questions. And what is the ecosystem that will support this crew, these pioneers, for instance? They are not going to go there by themselves if they are not supported by a community. So the community might be the people who agree on the direction, they may support in some way, but they are not doing it themselves. They will do it later. So you see, if you think crew, vessel, direction, ecosystem, then, and you try to really ask yourself these questions, then you have something much more practical to go somewhere. Another thing, you see, I talked about it yesterday, about the architectures. We have changed architectures here. We don't see it like that in companies. By the way, is there a law against that? Is there a law inside companies to, sometimes to move, if we want to move our bodies, or to speak from silence, or to have a talking stick? Let me give you an example. There's something we practice in collective intelligence, which is silence. Because when I'm in silence, I can stop being in a reaction, so I can be in creation. But if I don't want to be in reaction, I have to stop and be silent. I have to center myself. Believe me, we've worked, Fernanda and I, with many directions, many top managers in companies and CEOs and VPs. And some of them have agreed that when they do a meeting, they apply new social codes like, I will not speak before one deep, long breath. That's our rule. We are, in this meeting room, and we don't cut, we don't take the floor, we don't cut someone speaking, and if I speak, I take a deep, long breath. Well, those people, every one of them who practice that, they say we don't make the same decisions. Just by breathing, we have changed the whole strategy of our group. It's not a matter of investing millions of dollars in a new R&D kind of thing. It's just breathing. It is changing one single social code. Because social codes, conventional social code don't say breathe. It says speak, 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 speak. Be into your vital response, not into your inspired response. You see the difference? So it says a lot about our personal journey, and it has been shared a lot today about how important it is to do our personal development. By the way, we have a long experience of how reluctant some people may be, especially in France. We only see it in France. Like, oh, that's a sect, or, it's going to be personal growth, but it has nothing to do in the company. We hear that a lot. Now, for those who, if you hear people around you say that, invite them to go outside of France and see that everyone is evolving out there. But France, this small village, who's so smart. Now, I'm a little cynical here, but really, go outside in the world, and you will see that big corporations with CEOs and all their staff sometimes are going into meditation. Why is that? Because they know they will make different decisions, they will operate from a different place, and it is very pragmatic. The MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the Collective Intelligence Department, all these PhDs, they work on meditation as a way to make decisions and be efficient. A better doing from a better being. Doing, being, and so on. So, you may also think about these things. Again and again, you will be invited to talk about the doing, like corporate social responsibility, global warming, all these external things. Invite beauty. If you leave beauty aside, and beauty, what I mean by beauty is like, it's fantastic to have flowers, to be in a beautiful environment, in good conditions. But it's not only that. Beauty is the cathedral builders. Let's build a cathedral, something that's so beautiful. There's a question that we ask a lot in the corporate world. It is a survey. What about asking everyone in the organization this question? If you had 50 million euros or dollars, whatever, on your bank account, would you still come and work in the morning? If people say yes, it means there's beauty. Because you don't need a salary for beauty. You work for something else. Salary is good, of course, but this is not the main drive. If people say, no, I would do something different, it means they have not yet in their life enough beauty to motivate them. Something else is motivating them, but not beauty. So you can really ask these questions. I would invite you in a pragmatic way, by whatever possible means, to learn collective intelligence as a practice, as a science. It will provide you, what we want to do here is social engineering. We ask ourselves, how can we create organizations that are conscious, efficient, resilient, learning, respecting the individual, the environment? These are social engineering questions. But we don't have any language for that. So it's like we say, we need to build this beautiful, huge building there, but we don't know anything about architecture. We will never, ever get this building done. So there's a technical language. There's technicity there, very grounded technicity. And if we don't learn it, how are we going to get there? So we will agree about the building to build, but we'll never build it. So how can you get this knowledge? first, there's a huge amount of resources online that you can really read. And if you learn yourself, social media, and you go into the practice of that, you will get a lot of this practice. There's a whole culture out there that is not inside the corporate world, which is so late behind, but it is online available. Also, you can do seminars, or you can invite people, train your companies, but you have to create spaces. You wouldn't think that you're going to learn music without training yourself. How are you going to learn social engineering if you don't train yourself? It just makes sense. The last thing is this next Monday, I think it was raised, you may have a gueule de bois, I mean by that, okay, back into business as usual. Back into the corporate world. We've been in like some protected space, beautiful views. Now what? So it is going to be your work, your will, to propose spaces in your organization or outside your organization for growing and harvesting these new forms of collective intelligence. It is very hard. We have these moments when we're together where we have an aha moment. We feel safe in a new space. And then we're like sponges. We come back into the environment and we witness ourselves behaving in the good old way. And sometimes it's a very disappointing experience. And it's normal if we're not in the matrix that supports us. It's very hard to sustain ourselves alone in a hostile so-called environment. And the last thing I want to share a little bit, by whatever means, do support your pioneers in your company. You may not be yourself a pioneer. This is okay. We need a world, composed of lots of different people. But from our perspective, when we start speaking with organizations, whether we're going to work with them or not, what we check is if they support their pioneers. Organizations that do not support their pioneers, and I'm not just talking about the R&D, I'm talking about people with new ideas, entrepreneurs. If those organizations don't support them, we don't see any future for them. So maybe this is the easiest part to do in your organizations from the collective intelligence perspective. Thank you very much.